First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BBE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you could never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT. You found us at postwrestling.com, Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you choose to use. And of course, we are
live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. How are we doing? Happy WrestleMania Tuesday.
Oh, give us the green light. Give us your soul. Give us everything. Give yourself a round of applause if you're going to make it through all the wrestling this week. It's Christmas time for wrestling fans. It's nonstop wrestling every day, all day, and there's no way everyone can watch all of it in one sitting without sleeping this weekend. But I guess some of you will take that challenge. But Godspeed to a happy and fun WrestleMania week. And we're still on the road too, because it's not only WrestleMania season, it's stand and deliver season.
It is stand and deliver season, and we've had a final stop on the way. We're leaving Florida, and we're ready to stand up and deliver. And we're going to be going all into NXT tonight. We'll be talking about tonight's show and previewing Stand and Deliver, giving our predictions. Now we have the full card going into Saturday's lunchtime/breakfast edition of NXT.
Okay, so it's saying 1 p.m. Eastern time, right?
Yes,
so that
but they announced a kickoff show at noon.
Okay, so
featuring the women's tag match. So wrestling is going to be starting around like 12:30, I believe.
Wow. Okay, so that's a long day for anyone who's going to attempt. We did it last year where we went to Stand and Deliver and then WrestleMania night one. There's going to be some people definitely hustling and bustling to try to make it to and from different shows, and that never mind trying to get to shows afterwards and everything. It's like a festival. You got to pick the acts of stuff that you want to see. So let us know if you are going and attending. Let us know. Always love live feedback of everything. We're not going to be in Vegas this week for WrestleMania. I don't think there's some post-wrestling people. I've seen a few of the crew or extended family, like some of the Grapple lads as well. I think
Martin Bushby just arrived today. I saw some of his photos. And Maddie Edwards from Grapple is going to be there as well.
But always love live feedback, especially for some of the stuff that might not be so readily available, like the roast or, I don't know, some Hall of Fame stuff or anything. If anything comes to mind and you are attending any of the independent stuff, the collective and so forth. So let us know and hope you have a fun time. Or maybe you're like us watching at home in spirit. And it's still going to, even if you just follow, WWE is taking over that like weekend, like the whole indie stuff feels like WWE is now like this is our weekend, motherfuckers. We got Wale Mania on Netflix, we got the roast, we got the after parties. Like they're going balls to the wall crazy, and why not party on? So
why not? I like it feeling it's cool, making it feel special. And you're not going to be able to necessarily see everything, but I think there is something for everyone at these, like every good festival. WWE might not be a cup of tea, but there'll be some stuff on the indies, or maybe you don't want to watch any wrestling and just want to watch, Wale Mania or roasts or whatever. There's a lot going on. I'm always excited for this time of year. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to go back hopefully next year for it.
Absolutely. Oh yes, with New Orleans, I think the plot starts to thicken. I think we'll start to plan maybe a trip next year. Last year was amazing, and anyone going for the first time, it's you got to do it at least once if you're a big fan. Absolutely. We're gonna jump into NXT, the last stop from NXT before Saturday for Stand and Deliver. We will be doing a show this weekend covering Stand and Deliver. You know why? Because we are your NXT friends. And we'll always be your NXT friends. We're not going to go live right after Stand and Deliver because that would be mad. That would be nonsense to try to stay like there and then go to our watch party and then try to get all that going. So Sunday at 12 noon Eastern time, right here on Post Wrestling, you can catch Davie and myself. We will be doing upNXT Stand and Deliver post show on the Sunday, and we'll talk a little bit about Mania Night 1, I'm sure. So mark it in your calendars. Sunday, hang out with us at noon and have brunch with the BDE.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it makes more sense anyway. I don't know if there's going to be much time for people, even if we were to record one, to listen to it before night 1 of WrestleMania. So kind of makes more sense to combine our thoughts on WrestleMania Night 1 and Stand and Deliver in one show. And then I'm pretty sure next Tuesday we'll be doing the same sort of thing, talking about night 2 as well as the Fallout show of NXT.
Yeah, and super looking forward to, if anyone listening, we do these watch parties. I do think we're sold out at this point. We usually have to turn people away at these things now. And it's great to see some of our listeners and Post Wrestling Poisonrana community out there. And if you are showing up, make sure you say hello and tell us, that you're a listener and stuff, because I got some goodies for some listeners, including some goodies in our raffles, Davie. I mean, we've done some pretty cool prizes, but you've gotten your hands on some DX69 Suck It jerseys. We're going to give one of those away one night. And then
in honor of Hall of Famer.
Of course.
Paul Levesque, Triple H, yes.
Oh, we'll get to Paul in a second. But we also have the Austin vest, the WWF Classic Austin vest, which are always a big one. And then, of course, our boys, Pure Fandom, Big Tom, with the connect of some of the craziest lucha masks, including a very nice Penta, Rey Fenix, and Rey Mysterio mask combo. That the prizes are going to be pretty fun. And people seem to lose their mind over some of the fun stuff that we get. So we're going to have a lot of fun, and hopefully we see you there. But follow the socials, because we'll post about I hope that person whoever came with the Divas title one time, I really hope they bring it back, because I'll make him an offer for it, I think.
There are still some tickets left available. We are sold out currently inside. We often try to assess on the day if we can squeeze some more people inside or not. But we have opened up our patio, which is going to have it on the TV and our projector as well. So weather permitting, it is a covered patio. We do have heaters. But if you are looking to come and get an outside seat, please wear sensible clothes, even if it's a nice day and you think, it's gorgeous today. It does get cold at night still. So, and especially if you're sat there for a few hours. So bring your nice thick coat. If you get too warm, you can take it off. That's fine. But I don't want to be in a position where you've come in, you're watching outside, and we cannot fit you inside due to capacity. So be smart.
Absolutely. Look, you're going like Karen mode on these, because someone's going to get mad.
It's as if we've done this before. Yeah. I think that's
someone will get mad. Someone will definitely get mad, but we're going to have a good time as always. And we're doing both nights here. So celebrating the Lord's Day, celebrating 420, celebrating it all, where it begins again, the ultimate thrill ride. And if you come, maybe I'll give you a hug, depending. I heard John Pollock offer that for me. So if I'm nice enough, you get me a few Royal Rumble shots in, a few Poisonrana drinks, I'll definitely hug you. We have a lot. We just did a huge podcast. If you don't follow Poisonrana in your podcast app, please go give us a little follow in your app or YouTube and search Poisonrana Podcast. Give us a little follow, subscribe. We do tons of free shows, including Poisonrana Live every week. And just this past Sunday, we did a huge show with our WrestleMania 41 preview, where we chat about both nights. We run through a little bit of preview and predictions for both nights, all the matches and everything going on this weekend, as well as a little AEW and some Dark Side Vader as well. So this was a huge show we just dropped on Sunday, and it's available for free, where we're talking everything. Will Seth return a favor, or the other way around? Will there be a third man? Is it Randy? Is it Seth? Is it Drew? What could happen at WrestleMania? We talk all about it and all the things that we think might happen. So
now I will say we did record this Sunday. Obviously, we have had an episode of Raw since then. I was on Rewind of Raw last night with John Pollock talking all about that show, and you can hear about that on this very feed. I'll just say, as far as I'm concerned, everything I said on Sunday still remains completely valid, because I wasn't particularly impressed with last night's Raw, and I don't really think my thoughts or opinions have been changed from that. So what I'm getting at is that might be a negative way to sort of push our show, but I think all our predictions and stuff are still very valid from Sunday's show. So it's not dated, is what I'm trying to say. Go and check it out on our feed.
There is something, because like I've definitely been in the camp of like, hey, wouldn't Seth have a lot to gain if he were to win? And he could win, Paul could be his new guy, drop the silly Barney outfits and like be serious, and then take the title from Jay. But this week they like ended Raw with that hitting over the head, like Seth like being the one to stand tall. And I don't know, whoever stands tall doesn't usually stand tall. So I'm a little worried about that. And it's probably just going to be CM Punk winning. But I think we discussed what we kind of consider a little bit of a lackluster WrestleMania build, maybe in just comparison to last year. But considering how hot WWE is right now, it doesn't really matter. It just seems like everyone knows the big matches we're getting, and we're going to have to see what happens with Cena on SmackDown. But I am still in the I think it'll be a good show. I think both nights should be pretty fun, even though maybe the build hasn't been the most exciting.
Yeah, I think there's still, like, looking at the talent involved and everything, I think that both nights of WrestleMania are still going to be very solid. I think, yes, compared to last year, maybe not as hot, but compared to years past, previous to WrestleMania 40, I think there have been some worse builds than this one, where WrestleMania was still one of my favorite shows of the year. So I'm still very much looking forward to it. I think a lot of our criticisms have been valid, especially to do with the two main events. But I think up and down the card, I think there's a lot of valid criticisms to be had. But when you still look at kind of the names involved in some of these matches, they should deliver. And I'm very excited to see that. And also the pageantry, you know, I love like being excited to see what the set is going to look like, what that stage is going to be, who's having the special entrances, what their ring gear is going to be like. Are there any special performances? You know, all that kind of stuff as well adds to WrestleMania for me. Absolutely.
Like the whole 9 yards. They go, like, the stage looks crazy so far. Like some of the people leaking some of the photos of them setting it up. Like, it's going to be massive.
Will anyone be in a toga?
We should get one person, right? Too bad Joe is over there. He would have been perfect. Samoa Joe. Close enough to a poncho.
I mean, Jim Ross as well. I'm partway through WrestleMania 9, and I wasn't ready. I knew Jim Ross was in a toga, yet I still wasn't ready to see Jim Ross's legs.
Feet.
Yeah, and feet. Yeah.
Well, speaking of feet, isn't the what episode of Dark Side?
Tony Atlas. Yeah, it's coming up soon.
Good stuff. Yeah, I thought the stuff with I'm not super sold on the triple threat main event, and I think it's cool that we're gonna get this match and it'll be fun, but the whole, like, we're really ringing out and beating that like Shield chair shot dry a little bit. Like, I think last year was the final one, and yet here we're still beating that drum.
That being said, I did kind of appreciate his, like, you know, kinky Shield gear he was wearing last night to kind of foreshadow that happening, I guess.
Shield gear, kinky Shield gear.
Shield gear.
Another thing I did like, I thought that was a positive, was Gunther's promo, where he's just yelling at the fans, yelling at Jay, saying, like, all you people, you know, this company was shit before I got here. Like, I'm saving the wrestling world and all this. But then also the one bad guy line was like, I can't wait after I beat you on Saturday to call up my mama and tell her how much I enjoyed beating you up at WrestleMania. And that one was the classic, like, cheesy 80s villain line that I thought was really, I think one of his best promos for sure. But I think that match, I think Jay should win, as we gave some predictions, but like, imagine he were to win. Just the bad guy does win in this Rocky movie. It could potentially
I wouldn't be against it,
Yeah.
although I think Jay makes the most sense for sure.
Yeah. So we did a whole WrestleMania preview and predictions, and this whole week is pretty crazy. Obviously, postwrestling.com for everything. I know Sino and Paul are going to be doing a lot of work and covering lots of shows, but shout out Wei Ting, Post Wrestling, we love you. And we're going to go live this Sunday, but we have dropped some crazy shows in honor of WrestleMania season. And if you've never checked out the Poisonrana Patreon, well, you should do that, because WrestleMania is a great time to support your independent Canadian podcasters here talking about wrestling every month. $5 to become a friend tier, and it gives you a whole month access to all our podcasts, including all the shows we drop every week, including we've recently dropped episode 8 of The Champ Is Here, where we were joined by Jason Solomonster, where we've been going through John Cena's 16, soon to be 17 time world title reigns, and every episode we have different guests on, and we talk about the chase, the win, and the reign itself. So these can be pretty lengthy podcasts, but Solomonster was gracious enough to join us, and we had a great chat looking at Cody versus Cena back in 2010, Batista, Elimination Chamber. It was wild. But then we recently looked at WrestleMania X8, but then we launched one of our longest shows to date just the other day, which was a hell of a show. You mentioned someone going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, Papa Paul, the game, Triple H. Well, it's time we played the game. We have a show called Best Match Ever, where we rate, review, and dissect an awesome playlist of the best of Triple H that you put together. And we're talking street fights, triple threats, 3 stages of hell, Tajiri at one point, WrestleMania. The list goes on. Water bottles, sledgehammers. We talk about it all in a very epic podcast, looking back at the King of Kings. I know you had a joy looking back at Triple H matches.
I enjoyed this so much more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was a great show, if I do say so myself. And if I know there's a lot of wrestling going on this week, but if you want to go back, it's all on the network. It's all on Netflix there for you to go back and enjoy, and then give the show a listen.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Triple H. We give him his flowers, and maybe one day we'll do worst match ever, Triple H. One day when we feel like it. Maybe after reading some of the comments in one of his recent interviews, maybe we should do it sooner rather than later. But we also, you said it, the last time WWE was in Vegas for WrestleMania, it was WrestleMania 9. And we're having a toga party. We are recording this tomorrow in 1993, when Yoko fought Brett and then fought Hogan. Epic WrestleMania, one of the best, I think, considered amongst fans. I could be wrong on that.
It's funny to really sell this show we're about to do. I was just listening to John Pollock's retrospective, going through every single WrestleMania. I'm about halfway through. He gets to halfway through talking about WrestleMania 10, and he's like, I forgot to talk about WrestleMania 9. Oh, well, yeah, WrestleMania 9, it's not great. It's not good. One of the worst ever. Yeah. Anyway, WrestleMania 10.
Hey, so Shawn Michaels to Tonka is great.
Yes, sure.
We're going to talk all about WrestleMania 9 and then the new WWE Peacock doc that covers everything about this. So a little bit of two for there. We'll be talking about this. You mentioned JR in a toga and so much more. Hogan with his shiner, right? Bret Hart getting mad, of course. It's going to be fun talking about WrestleMania in Vegas.
Giant Gonzalez, right?
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh yeah, I'm ready. I haven't got there yet. I've watched some of it today, but
yeah, me neither. But I've still, I've always had this isn't a show I've seen front to back, but I did have I think it was when WrestleMania 17 was about to happen. I got this WrestleMania magazine, and I just read it front to back so many times.
Yeah.
And I was always so confused. Who is this guy that The Undertaker's facing? Right. What the fuck is he wearing?
What is he wearing? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be talking all about that. Yes.
Everyone always talks about how bad Giant Gonzalez was as a wrestler and how bad that gear was, but I always loved The Undertaker's entrance. He's got like the vulture, I think, and like a carriage and stuff. It's It's pretty badass. So I'm excited to rewatch that and talk all about it tomorrow. That show will be up on our Patreon, as well as all those other shows. There's so many shows. It equals to pennies per podcast. $5 if you never give us a shot. Patreon.com/Poisonrana. Check us out. You won't be disappointed. We'll keep you entertained. All those long car rides, quiet showers, whatever it may be. There is a few other things that we kind of skipped over. Something I wanted to talk about on Sunday, and I'm so angry. As soon as we ended, I was kicking myself. The Rock wearing a New Japan shirt with a Rubik's Cube on his Instagram. Discuss.
So what's the next big one? Rock at Dominion? Is that it? Or what is the next New Japan event?
Tanahashi's retiring. John Cena's retiring. Cena versus Tana in the dome. Just depends what dome are we talking here, really. But that's fantasy booking. But why did The Rock do that? What was the purpose of this post? New Japan, who's usually quickly to take things like that down. I'm surprised they didn't copyright strike it. Instead, they posted it themselves. They stole his Instagram post and posted it, being like, "Look, The Rock's wearing this shirt."
It's his tease, isn't it? So G1 will be coming up this summer. We'll wait. We'll go through a whole grueling tournament. Who is the winner? Who will be facing Goto at the Tokyo Dome? And then The Rock will just come out and just be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, Gabe Kid. I know you want your moment, but this Rock Goto match just needs to happen. It's the people need it." So we'll just throw a spanner in the works again. I don't know. He's trolling. I think.
Yeah, he's definitely trolling.
I'm more curious did he solve that Rubik's Cube? That's what I want to know.
Absolutely not. No, I've seen some people do it really quickly and it freaks me out. I don't trust those people.
Scary.
Something you're not human, I think. I've seen with that rapper who does it while he raps and stuff is what Logic, I think. It's pretty impressive. But The Rock, I don't know if he could do it. I hope this leads to the Forbidden Door in another direction. It's totally not. I think he's just whatever. But the dude can't even show up to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown in this entire WrestleMania build since Elimination Chamber. But maybe it was the Terramana speaking on his Instagram. Another thing I saw reading about today, and then I saw someone post about it, meaning the guy himself, Jeff Cobb. Speaking of New Japan, looks like he's possibly finishing up and making his way to WWE. Would you see him in NXT? Is that an island that he could tour?
Yeah, I talked about this with John yesterday, and it's just very odd that, it seemed we talked about this on Poisonrana. It feels like 6 weeks ago that he was ending with New Japan, and then they put the tag titles on him a week ago, only for him to vacate it and seemingly be leaving. There's obviously some strange stuff going on there. I see him going straight to the main roster, to be honest. I think he'd be a good post-Mania, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, just to make a bit of an impact. I think we talked about it on that Poisonrana show back then. I think him being in that meat division that they're seemingly to be building up recently with your Jacob Fatus, your Braun Strowmans, your Bronson Reeds when he's fit, all of them, I think he'd fit in pretty well. But yeah, I'm curious. I can't see particularly the highest of heights for him in WWE, but he's one of those guys. What else is he going to be doing in New Japan at this point? They don't seem any interest in pushing him any higher than kind of this tag role and occasional never open weight championship. So he's flirted with AEW before. I would have thought he'd have been there by now if that was something either he wanted to do or Tony Khan wanted him to do. So sure, why not go to WWE and make that bag, and maybe he'll surprise and end up kind of catching fire. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's refreshing to kind of see him in that environment. We've kind of seen him. I feel like I've watched him in everything. I've watched him here in the Indies for so long. I've watched him in Ring of Honor. I've watched him in New Japan, a little bit in AEW. It feels like this is the next step, and I feel like he could step up and put on some good stuff. I'm still mad at Ospreay, Cobb, Madison Square Garden let me down. Maybe I'm just a negative Nancy, but I'm like, that should have been a classic. What happened? God, rematch it one day. But I saw the Forbidden Door poster being advertised as well for the O2 with Will Ospreay, which is pretty cool. So that's got it confirmed of August 24th.
I think. Yes.
Are you going to be overseas for that?
No, I'll be back. I'll be there a few weeks before then.
Right.
So not this year.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be fun. I announced fun stuff, getting some cool shows over there that summer for sure. With WWE.
Yeah, they're doing a date in Scotland, I believe.
Yeah,
Glasgow, I think, just beforehand, and then I'm still surprised they're not doing more. I think, especially with the way attendance has been for AEW, although they're having a slight upward trend recently, it seems. But I'm surprised, like, you're doing all these dates around All In Texas, and I just think the market there to do UK, other parts of Europe, we've just seen the success WWE have had there. You don't need to be charging that amount of money, and you can fill some of these venues and have white hot crowds, which will translate on TV. It's kind of weird that they're only doing the one date. I think I feel I get when they did the first All In that they wanted that to be the event. Just this is the first time we're in Europe, and it's this big stadium show. Now you've got that out of the way, I think you could play about with doing a bit of a bigger tour than they're doing so far. And maybe, who knows, maybe they do announce a few more dates in a month or so. So
they're back in Wembley next year. So, like, I don't know, like, doing just Wembley makes people have to travel to see them, right? Like, I think that was the big part of the first one, where it's like, we're not doing a whole tour because we want you to travel in to go to this kind of thing. So, I'm super excited for, I know we're recording this right now, Tuesday night, but tomorrow night is the biggest the longest reigning wrestling show in the history of TBS or TNT or one of those things. I don't know, somehow, some way it's beating Nitro kind of in some weird way, but they have announced Mercedes versus Athena in what should be an awesome match, and then a rematch of what my match of the year was last year, which we were at, Ospreay and Takeshita 2, which has all my money. So I will be definitely checking out this episode. It looks really stacked. Those are just two of the big matches announced, but and then maybe we'll see what happens with all those wrestlers with their $100,000 that they won. I need to see Mark Briscoe just flexing.
Well, Speedball's got to be wearing shoes.
He better be.
Right? Like,
he better be wearing shoes.
Promised us.
I noticed. Who's that guy? Michael Oku. He's been posting that he's going to have a crazy WrestleMania indie week here. Like, he's doing a lot of shows, and someone's asking him on Twitter, like, "Hey, it looks like you're doing like 4 or 5 matches in one day on Thursday in Vegas." And like someone said, that has to be a record. And his response was, that's the Speedball diet. I think Speedball still might have that record for a few years going, where he was just the guy.
It has been a question, because I think you've had these stars on the kind of indie circuit for these WrestleMania weekends. I know a few years ago it was Orange Cassidy was like on every single show, like pre AEW. You had Gunther, Walter at the time, when he was an attraction. And then it's definitely felt the last couple of years it's been Speedball, especially since he, wasn't able to wrestle in the States for so long, and it was only recently he was able to. So Mike Woku taking that role, I think it's a great way to get his name out there even more. I'm a little surprised that he hasn't made it to an AEW or an NXT or something like that yet, because he's been kind of the guy in the UK for a while now, and Ospreay gave him the rub. They've had those matches in Rev Pro that got a lot of attention. So I think this WrestleMania weekend is hopefully just a way to open even more eyes up to him, and maybe we can see him land somewhere in the next year.
It's also like, hey, maybe it's a choice, because right now he's considered like the hot product in all these independents, and if he were to just wrestle on Collision every week, it could kind of change the view and stuff. If anyone is going, or anyone who watches, whether live or in person, any of the collective stuff, any of the independent stuff this weekend, and something definitely catches your eye and you think people should watch, post in the Poisonrana Facebook group in the chat, or holler at us and tell us what we got to check out. I definitely will be watching the DDT show this week. Always a weekend stealer for me, and I can't wait. I'm hoping Haku the dog makes an appearance, but we'll have to tune in to see, because that could potentially be one of the big surprises this WrestleMania weekend. But super excited about everything going on this weekend, and it's pretty cool. And then today I got to hang out with a buddy and tried 2K25 for the first time, and it's pretty cool. Like, the graphics are insane, especially like the final boss entrance. Like, looks like you're watching WrestleMania. It's like the graphics are pretty crazy, but they have some characters like Sandman Terry Funk, Great Muda, Vader. I was playing Vader a few times today since watching Dark Side. But the DLC that's been announced, we kind of briefly chatted, but I'm seeing Abyss coming into the game and New Jack and stuff. Like, I think this is one of the biggest loaded rosters, but every year kind of still feels the same. Like the game, to me, I don't know. We don't play as much as we used to since the pandemic. Davey, we used to play a lot. We used to play so much, but now we don't ever play it.
I haven't played the last couple much at all. I think I get the game, I load it up, and that's been about it. But
and then it's like
maybe one day need another pandemic to get back into that.
But it was cool playing as Sandman, and I do want to try Abyss as well. And then I have one last final plug, I swear, and then I swear we can talk about NXT. But we have a friend of the show. His name is Shane Smith, and I'm sure you've heard us talk about him before. He just finished a camp at the Nightmare Factory down in Atlanta. And the Nightmare Factory have a YouTube channel where the Nightmare family posts different videos, whether it's the training camps and Cody and QT and all the different coaches and stuff. But they recently posted Nightmare Factory Student Showcase 17, which features my friend Shane's first ever wrestling match. And what's a little different about my friend Shane is that he is an amputee and does not have legs and only has one arm. Yet here he is wrestling in a match. And anyone interested, please go check out and support. It's on the Nightmare Factory's YouTube. I'll give it a tweet out maybe in the next day or so. But it blew my mind watching this.
It's pretty awesome.
Zach Gowen vibes.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious. I told him though he's got to use the crippled crossface and the disability DDT. And I don't want to give it away, but you might see that in the match. But very proud of our friend Shane there, and go check him out and support and leave a comment on it as well. But I think it's around the 44-minute mark. Again, I'll post the links out maybe tomorrow and everything, but please share. So, I lost you there, buddy.
55 minutes on the video.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Even better. So go check it out because it's pretty incredible to see. This is one of my, growing up, one of my best friends, and he's never ever wanted to be a wrestler, but this opportunity came out, and it's pretty great. So go check it out if you're interested. So pretty cool. I think that's it. Now we can talk about standing and delivering.
Let's do it.
Something my friend couldn't do, but he still delivered. Even though he couldn't do the standing. I know he would appreciate that joke. Also, shout out to a guy named Hayden, because Shane, while in training, said he met someone who was a big fan of upNXT and Poisonrana, Davie. So we got a shout out for Hayden, who I think is in the video of this showcase as well. So we appreciate the love out there.
Shout out Hayden.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's talk about some NXT. Let's talk about some stand and deliver hype for this weekend. We kick off NXT from Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. And we are talking all the things leading to this Saturday. And we're not wasting any time because we're kicking things off with a fatal four-way match for the number one contendership for the North American title that Ricky Saints currently holds. Ricky joins the commentary desk, but already in the ring, Wesley, Eddy Thorpe, Lexis King, and Ethan Page. We get all four guys kind of going at it here. They keep throwing Lexis King out of here. Eventually, Eddy hits a snap German and a series of haluva kicks. There's then a super kick from King to Page, and then he tries to run at all three stacked in the corner, but they all move out of the way, and somehow he still ended up hitting the ring post. Page is in offense mode with a code breaker on Wes for a near fall. There's then a Tower of Doom spot or Wes power bombs everyone down, followed by a standing star for a near fall. Eventually, it's everyone putting each other in a sleeper hold at one point. They're doing all the PWG multi-man spots in this. Eventually, though, it's Ethan Page who has Lexis, I think, up on his shoulders, and then there's a whisper in the wind from Wes, which then again everyone crashes and burn. I thought that was pretty cool.
This what I didn't catch the first time round was not only was this like a electric chair doomsday whisper in the wind, but it's with all four of them, and I think it's Ethan Page on falling spike someone with a DDT as well.
Oh,
Like
okay,
everyone takes something. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Eventually, King gains control. This led to a 2 count. King is up, hits a swanton, and then a huge coronation on Wes. Wes sold this like a huge move. But before he can capitalize, Paige hits King with the twisted grin for the 1, 2, 3. And now Ethan Page will face Ricky Saints this Saturday in Vegas. And right after the match, he cuts a quick promo and says, I said I would do this, and I did. And Ricky, I ruined your first title win and your big moment, and I'm going to ruin your first defense because I'm taking it. But he is attacked by Ricky here and speared, and then they kind of brawl, but Ricky stands tall. But that match is official for this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was wondering if there's going to be a bit of a schmoz to get just another multi-man on this show. Mainly because I just find it bizarre that Wesley is not booked on Stand and Deliver. I think that's a real shame. He's one of the best guys in NXT. He's been there a while. In my opinion, he should be in that world title mix at this point, and really shouldn't be a heel either. So it's pretty surprising that he's not going to be on the show. Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints, however, makes a lot of sense. So I'm not surprised they've gone that way. There was the tease in the match, though, when we had, I think it was Lexis was in both a Boston Crab and a crossface.
Yeah.
And then it was like the moment we talk about in our best match ever, where Lexis goes to tap and Wes runs in and grabs the hand. And I was wondering, is he now going to turn that into an armbar and Lexis verbally submits and we just get all three of these guys except Lexis in the match? But we didn't go there. So I guess Ethan Page makes the most sense. They've had the most feud sort of story building up to Stand and Deliver. And yeah, I'm curious to see how the match is. Ethan Page has been a little hit and miss in ring since coming to WWE. I think Ricky's done really well so far, and on the big stage, we'll see how it goes. But can't say I'm not disappointed not to have Wesley on the show.
Yeah, I think it could have been a fun multi-man if you did all these with Ricky, but at the same time, Ethan Page has kind of been the star, one of the big stars here in NXT in the last year. So this match makes the most sense. And I do see Ricky retain as well, but maybe we'll go through predictions and everything at the end of the show as well. We go to a video, one of 4 of the women who are competing in the NXT championship match. First one here tonight is for Jordynne Grace, and she is talking about all the time she hustled on the independent scene. She shows videos and clips of her many, many years ago. She says, no one's ever scouted me. No one ever, vouched for me or helped me get to where I was. And I had to do it myself. And she says that she started bodybuilding. She started getting into shape. She started turning her doubt into discipline. And that's when the Juggernaut was born. And then she says she fell in love with getting stronger every day. And I turned my body into an atomic bomb. She says she wakes up at 3 a.m. Take notes, everybody. 3 a.m. every day to train. She would drive to a town, wrestle a match, work out again, and drive home. And she says everyone keeps talking about NXT's women's division, but some people would be, but yeah, have you seen Jordynne Grace? And I made them look at me. I made myself stand out. And Saturday, I'll be champion. But pretty cool. I have actually followed Jordynne Grace's career a long time, and this is seeing the difference, the change in not only her appearance, but like just how jacked she got over these last few years. So pretty cool to see this. I liked all the videos tonight, but specifically this one too.
I really liked how personal they got with these videos. Not personal as in personal feuds, but actually getting a bit more insight into who these people are. And it's so weird. If we were to watch a video like this 5+ years ago, it would feel bizarre. Like, what, we're mentioning TNA, we're mentioning Impact, we're acknowledging that there's a history before WWE, that these human beings had a life before they moved into this company. And it just fleshes out these characters so much more and makes them feel like more real human beings who I can relate to and who I can support. So I like that. I liked all the clips they showed from TNA, showing her story, showing her growth. I liked majority of these videos tonight. Yeah,
pretty cool. So again, seeing the definite change over the years in the the grind that she's been doing to get to WWE. She's always been vocal about how she's always wanted to make it here. So yeah, pretty cool. We see a bunch of the NXT women's roster watching NXT as per usual in the back here, discussing the ladder match on Saturday. And Kalani starts talking about how she's going to win it. And we see Zaruka, right? The
Zaruka.
Soul Crushers. They mentioned that one of them is going to win this ladder match, but Izzy shows up. Izzy Damon says, no. Everyone knows that I'm going to win it because I'm going to be the one you're all looking up at when I grab that title. And Soul repeats, no. It will be one of us. And Zarya says, yeah, something like that. So we've kind of been talking about that, where it would be pretty great if Zaruka was short-lived, if Soul is just about to get it, fingertips, and Zarya's like, nah. And
we need to get to the feud, because I think these two have zero chemistry as a tag team.
No, come on.
The
best tag team going.
Like,
today.
Do a couple of cool things in ring, but I think as far as segments go, like, this to me doesn't work at all. Kalani, I think this week, leaning even more heel than she has been, to the point where I'm just going, is she just a heel now? Like, it didn't even seem very tweenerish this week. It just felt like, oh, she's just a obnoxious heel now.
Even Izzy called her out on it, said, like, you have a bit of more of an attitude now. Like, the old Lani was so nice, essentially, which yeah, she was. We go to our next match. This is a qualifier as well for the ladder match on Saturday. Lola Vice taking on Tatum Paxley with Gigi Dolan. We see some great back and forth submissions. Now, I know everyone's been talking about Tatum Paxley busting out some pretty innovative submissions in her last few matches. Lola took that personally, and in the few seconds is hitting, what is this, like a Hell's Gate sort of triangle, and then transitions it into all these different things. And then Pax is doing a bridge, like, arm bar. There's some crazy back and forth. I think they both MMA fans here. But then there's like a Lola and her keep like going back at it. And then, of course, Lola shakes her bum. Booker T starts to lose his mind and says, pass that Cholula.
She also tells us how she's a Latina as well.
Yes, of course.
As she shakes her bum, yes.
They're kind of still going at it back and forth during picture-in-picture. When we come back, there's an enziguri from Paxley, followed up by a neck breaker for a near fall. However, Lola comes back and she's fired up with those running kicks where she's just, it's like Street Fighter where you're just spamming the moves here. Eventually, though, there's a superplex from Pax, and that SOS move is blocked, followed up by not quite Shawn Michaels, but a springboard attempt into a super kick from Lola, followed up by the Lola Vice spinning back fist for the 1-2-3, meaning this Latina is going to stand and deliver on Saturday. But, you know, pretty fun back and forth with some of these submissions and stuff. Obviously, Lola with the MMA background and all that stuff, but Paxley has kind of stepped up in that like avenue as well.
I mean, we kind of forget, and this match was a reminder of it, that she was part of
Diamond Mine
or what, like unofficial like member to be kind of in training, sort of member of Diamond Mine. But yeah, like Tatum proved that she can do that kind of style as well. I think Lola's the right choice. They've definitely cooled off on her a lot recently, where we haven't really seen her wrestle much. So it was kind of nice to see her back in the mix here. But fun little match here. I wonder kind of where you go with Tatum. Like, I can't say this Tatum and Gigi thing is particularly working for me. And is Shotzi hurt again? Like, she's just kind of vanished off the face of the earth once again. So
is she hurt or chasing ghosts, or I don't know. I
don't know. I'm not sure.
The entrance doesn't work without Shotzi. You need Shotzi.
Well, I think there's just a bit more of a, like, I could see the three of them moving up as a group on Raw or SmackDown, but as a tag team, I'm not sure, and it's mainly due to my issues with Gigi Dolan in ring. But Tatum, like, I think keeps on surprising. Whenever we see her wrestle, it's kind of, oh yeah, she's good. So I'd like to see some evolution character-wise, and maybe they're starting to move away a little bit from the creepy girl thing, even though her look is still the same. But
they're still
I wonder where we'd go in the next bit. Yeah, gothy, but not necessarily spooky, witchy.
They're more Hot Topic.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Lola, like, where do we go with Lola, right? Like, she's kind of been she's had big challenges for the title. We were at Heat Wave where she had her big moment. Like, she's been given these opportunities and she's improved. It's just like, will she stick around in NXT longer to get better in ring? Like, she's pretty decent already. And I think as soon as Lola Vice were to appear on the main roster, I feel like she might become a big star, methinks. But maybe an NXT title run wouldn't be a bad thing for her either here in NXT before she eventually moves up. But I didn't mind this. I thought some of the cool submissions, it has everything for everyone, you know, submissions, arm bars, bum shakes. It's got everything that you could need on an NXT. We go from that to a video for Julia, another competitor in the 4-way match. She's talking about how she basically blindsided Stephanie and attacked her the other week. She says that friendships only go so far, especially when there's titles involved. And she says that, yes, I may have showed another side to my friend Stephanie, but our friendship is strong. But Saturday, we'll see who is stronger. And the other two, they're just obstacles that I will demolish to get what I want. I like the new attitude of Julia here. She comes across more, I don't know, more. I don't even know if it's necessarily heel. It's just like more believable and more of the Julia that we've watched previous to WWE, like the more badass. I felt like she was a bit watered down since coming to NXT.
For me, this was the weakest of the four.
Agreed, but
I really liked how the other three, and the other three are essentially baby faces. Like, Jada Parker has that attitude and kind of acts like a heel at times, but she is very popular and she is a baby face in this match. Julia had the difficult job of being the heel, I think, in this feud, and therefore you couldn't necessarily maybe go as personal as you have done with the others. We've also only just had the turn, so I could have done with maybe having her have more of an in-ring segment. It's difficult. She's, not an English speaker, so a lot of this is subtitled. You've just done the turn. I don't really feel like we've established the heel character yet. So I felt this video felt a little bit more out of place when compared to the other three we had in the show.
This one was the shortest compared to the three. It was just basically clips of that attack and then her saying, like, I'm going to win. So it was the shortest compared to the other three. But it also could have showed maybe some clips of her. Like, it showed other people from elsewhere. Could have showed her, like, Stardom or shaving her head or whatever, like, from before, right? Like,
well, Stardom has an agreement with AEW, right? So you'd have only got Marigold stuff, I believe. But but I'd have been like, if I was Stephanie, I'd have just been, I've been waiting for a rematch and you didn't give me a rematch, so I had to take it. If I was Stephanie, it was like, sorry, I read you were injured. I thought that's why I won both titles. Sorry, Julia. You could have just asked. You just haven't been on TV since you lost.
She's like, I'm just more over than you.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. So we see Trick Williams show up. He's ready to talk to Oba and Javon. Our main event segment is the final face-off between the three of them. Trick Williams, he's now driving this black Charger. We've seen a lot of people drive the black Charger in NXT, but it's been a while, I feel like. We see backstage Gigi and Paxley. They're pretty upset, and some of the women are back and kind of watching and listening. And Ava says that, you know what, even though there's lots of women who aren't on Stand and Deliver, I want to make sure that we get a lot of people on the card. I want to make sure I get everyone that paycheck in Vegas. I want everyone to show up at 5 a.m. for that call time, Vegas time, and have a match. So she is adding, get this, everybody. A pre-show match has been added. A fatal 4-way tag team elimination match. And the winners of that match will, on the following Tuesday after Stand and Deliver, which is in Vegas, right? NXT in Vegas. The winners will get a tag team title shot against the women tag champions.
Sorry, NXT is still in Vegas on the Tuesday?
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
didn't
so.
know that.
Yeah, it's NXT after Mania. Come on. I mean, NXT after Stand and Deliver. I'm pretty sure
they didn't do it in Philly last year. No, I'm pretty sure they're back in. Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware of that. So where are they hosting NXT?
Is it that it's like some small little thing? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it could be NXT After Vegas Tuesday. Let's see. I don't know. Now I'm you're making me second guess, but every time this happens, I'm usually right. So I'm going to stick with my guns and say that there is an NXT After in Vegas on the Tuesday.
So that'll be the winner of this match taking on either Liv and Raquel or Bailey and Lyra.
Nice. Oh, it should be Bailey and Lyra, and then Roxanne and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. So some of the women who are standing
they're
around...
doing it at the same place. I think Undertaker's doing his one-man dead show, the Fontaine Blue.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So
I didn't know that. Awesome.
You believe me now?
And now I've read
Why
it.
don't you ever believe me? You never believe me about anything.
You've given me reasons not to.
I'm the boy who cried wolf. Apparently in this match, Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson, Fallon, JC Jane, Tatum, Paxley, Gigi, and one more team that we will get to a little bit later on. But speaking of tag teams, we go to our next match, a number one contenders match, a tag team gauntlet match. You know, back in my day, this would be a tag team turmoil match, but gauntlet works well too. We're running the gauntlet here on NXT, and this is a gauntlet tag, meaning whoever can outlast all the other teams in a series of matches will go on to face Fraxium for the NXT tag titles this Saturday. And we start things off with the guys who are on a losing streak. Honk honk. Hank and Tank make their way to the ring, and the first team that they're facing, Tyson and Tyreek here. And, you know, Hank and Tank have been losing for what seems like weeks, what seems like months. Yet here in about 30 seconds, they eliminate Tyson and Tyreek with their running power slam combo. Wow. Holy moly. What's in the secret sauce today?
Yeah, it's something I always have an issue with, you know, multi-person elimination matches or 2 out of 3 falls matches sometimes, or something like this, where I'm pretty sure they had a competitive match with Tyson and Tyreek pretty recently, but
yeah,
this was the I guess least established team of the ones involved, and they had a bit more substantial time with the rest of them, but this was very quick, making very quick work of the lads.
Yeah, like so quick that I look down to type this match is happening, and I look up and they hit the power slam. I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, okay. So out next, the next team in this tag team turmoil is the Culling, and out come Brooks Jensen and Nico Vance. We get Hank and Tank in control early with the like running double honk honks in the corner, like the Stinger Splash type moves, the double honk honk on Nico. Eventually they hit this like assisted seated senton where Tank throws Hank to hit this move. I thought that was pretty cool. They go to picture in picture, and we see now that the Culling are just beating the hell out of Hank here. Ringside, they do almost like the Steiner Bulldog combo, but send Hank into the commentary desk, and this busts him open. His mouth is bleeding following this spot here. Very Steiner Bros like, and that won't be the last thing, because they get back in the ring and they continue to beat down on Hank, but then Hank comes in and he hits the Steiner like power slam off the top, that counter that Rick Steiner would do. Watch WrestleMania 9, you'll know what we're talking about, for a huge move here. And eventually it's I think Tank who pins Brooks to eliminate the Culling. So now this team has gone 2-0 in this gauntlet match. But I like me some Steiner's references. But I think at least the Culling got a bit more in.
It was done almost as a counter, wasn't it? I think I think they were going for something else, and midair countered with this power slam. It looked pretty good.
So out next is the No Quarter Catch Crew, Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. And these guys come in there and they're throwing them around with some of the wrestling, but then Hank is in and he throws Tavion out of the ring once, twice, starts hitting these haymakers and honk honk. But eventually it's Miles who does this huge, impressive tope con hilo onto everyone onto the outside as we go into picture in picture. Now
he Hank got height on this as well. Like, I know the comparisons are there to Randy Orton, but I've not seen Randy take to the air like this.
Not yet.
Very impressive. And I think this crowd really are into Miles Bourne as well. So seeing him do something like this definitely woke this crowd up for sure. I'd like to see them try and go a bit further with Miles because he's very entertaining here.
I really love Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. Absolutely. I thought this was a really great little back and forth. Probably my favorite part of the match was some of the stuff with the no quarter catch crew. Eventually, though, they go back into the ring and we see Tavion again doing all sorts of trying to do suplexes and wrestling holds. But I think it's Tank who eventually counters Tavion, rolls him up, and eliminates him as well. Therefore, the teams just keep on coming and they don't stop coming as we have Hank and Tank taking on Briggs and Inamura. And we just get a series of suplexes here. Inamura is throwing them around. There's then the chops in the corner. There's a choke slam combo into the knee of Inamura. Wouldn't that hurt your own partner's knee?
Kind of.
Wouldn't that hurt your buddy's knee?
Well, that's what I was, especially a guy the size of Hank who's taking this,
Big.
But he kind of missed the knee completely. This
like if imagine we're in a street fight, Davey. Me and you are beating up some dude, and I'm like, hold on, choke slam him, but put your knee out. Put your knee out. I'm gonna slam on
I've
you.
always thought that in wrestling, you know, when someone's going for a frog splash and you put the knees up, I'm like, I kind of think that could just fuck up my legs as well,
Yeah.
especially the size of some of these dudes.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So, however, this wasn't enough to keep him down. Commentary here, Vic is telling us that this is now going over 20 minutes that Hank and Tank have been wrestling. Welcome to the big leagues, boys. Eventually, Briggs is hitting a series of big boots to both of them, but there's an inside cradle from Hank to Briggs, and Inamura goes for a huge dive, like, no. But in the last second, he couldn't make it. The ref counts 3. Hank and Tank are going to stand and deliver. They ran the gauntlet and have won as Briggs looks at Inamura like, you costed us everything, even though he was the one who was pinned. So no attack, no turn yet, but Hank and Tank win the match.
Yeah, I like the finish here. I think it's something we don't see enough. I think we could see more times in tag matches where the person is just inches away from breaking up the pin and misses out. I'm surprised it's not used more often. I think it's effective. And yeah, definitely a look from Briggs at the end here where I don't think this team is going to be together too long. And I'm not sure how long Inamura's excursion was meant to be anyway. So maybe we could be, post stand and deliver, have Briggs turn on Inamura, get the singles match, and Inamura will be going back to Japan and finally get that singles run for Josh Briggs because they flirted with it too many times. And I'm always excited when they're about to do it. And he's ready for it for sure.
Yeah.
This was exactly what we thought it was going to be. Kind of Hank and Tank were the only story going into this. So they had to win. I found it pretty entertaining. I still kind of, especially Hank Walker, I'm just watching and he feels like a guy pretending to be a wrestler for me a lot of the time. Even the selling in this one, and he had to sell a lot. The story of the match was he's the one getting beaten and battered. The added touch of that bulldog which bloodied up his face helped because it helped the story. I just find he's a little overacting for me, but then they do some pretty fun stuff, and this crowd does get behind them. I think Tank's fucking Hank and Tank, it's just funny, right? But Tank's hot tags and stuff are pretty entertaining to watch. So I'm still a little disappointed this is the match we're getting, but you know what, I think they've done as good a job as they can do with these two, and they're against the best tag team in the world right now. So it could be a very entertaining match.
It should be. It should be a good match. These guys have had some good moments and some bad moments in NXT, but they've definitely improved and keep getting better. So I'm not mad at them getting this slot. It's just every team they've beaten tonight, we've seen have awesome matches with Fraxium, and all of those teams that they just beat, maybe minus Tyson and Tyreek, who've also had decent matches in the past, but they got some shoes to fill. They got to step up to what we've seen against Briggs and Inamura and the others. So I am interested, and I hope they can keep up. And I don't mean this I find them funny. I think they've improved, but I don't know if they will be able to, because Frazier and Axiom are they move different. They move like a lot of these guys can't, and like they move too fast. Where I'm like wondering what that will look like on Saturday.
We have a segment which we'll get to in a little bit with Fraxium, and I just think this story is going to Hank and Tank winning these titles, which it's a great moment, but I just wish it wasn't against Fraxium. It just feels a bit of a shame for this incredible tag run they've had to end with these two. So I know that might sound a bit disrespectful, but it feels a little anticlimactic.
I don't think they're there yet. Not saying they won't get there, but even this was a little like pushing it and forcing it a little bit. Like I do think they will get there and they are on their way, but maybe I'm just bitter. I'm not getting my Hardy Boys, you know?
Fraser's annoying for sure, and they definitely have him as the heel of the team, but Fraxium aren't unlikable yet, you know? I think this would work so much better if the tag team champions were like proper strong heels,
right?
And you'd be really rooting for these guys, whereas I could see there being a bit of a split crowd for it.
Yeah, true. I do hope we get a solid match, and Hank and Tank have improved. I can't dismiss that. They definitely put the work in, but it still feels like they're not at maybe the level of some of the other ones. Like coming out of this match, I was like, yeah, this was pretty fun, but Miles Bourne, Tavion Heights, and Briggs, and I'm like, okay, it just like made some of the teams, especially the Culling and Tyson and Tyreek, like they jobbed out pretty quickly there.
Yeah,
like to Hank and Tank, that broke the losing streak. But yes, that is the match for Saturday. We get a commercial for WWE Evolve. We saw Swipe Right last week. We see a video here for Chantel Monroe. We see her here with Stevie in the office with Ava. And Ava says that you will one day be a star. And they're like, yeah, one day she will be. She walks off. They promote Evolve on Tubi. This is where Stone is saying that he's so happy for Hank and Tank. And Ava says, yep. And there is one last spot for the ladder match. And there's a secret person who's going to be added in the qualifier. And they're like, who is it? And she's like, oh, don't worry. You'll have to wait and see. When we see a truck pull up, commentary asks, is this Tony D? But we see the sneakers, we see the shoes. That means it's not. It's Oba Femi, who's ready to talk turkey with Trick Williams later. But I like the synergy so far, especially last week with Evolve and stuff. They're really short matches. Like they're basically like squash match, tryout matches and stuff. But I think I prefer what I've watched from Evolve more than what I've watched from LFG. That's just my honesty. But then I watched, and I made you watch it, the clip of Booker T going off on the Dudley Boys. Oh my God. If you've not watched this, Booker T loves pot stirrer. Booker T.
So I haven't finished my research yet, and maybe someone can do this for me. But
wait, what you got to explain. Okay. So
yes. Yeah.
Booker T is on this show, and so are the Dudleys, and I guess Devon's on this episode. And Devon and Booker and Bubba are going off to these students and the other trainers about how, like, you know, multiple X-time tag champions, we are world champions everywhere, and all this stuff. And you see Booker like giving us a face, like kind of like smirking and like, you know, playing with his face a bit, like And then it cuts to Booker like interview after, because again, the show is like Big Brother or whatever. It's like it cuts to people afterwards, like Ultimate Fight or whatever. And it's Booker is like, they're not world. I don't count ECW as world tag team titles. They're regional. And Booker seems pretty like passionate about this. Now I haven't seen Bubba's rebuttal, which I'm sure there is one, but what is your take on this? Are they world tag team champions? ECW?
I mean, I get what he's getting at, because, you know,
he says, I'm 15-time world TV.
You go to your local wrestling promotion and they call their championship the world championship. Usually it doesn't mean you're a world champion. Yeah. But, and I need to like complete this research because I might be wrong. So the Dudleys won the ECW tag team titles 8 times. That brings their, as far as Bubba Ray is concerned, their world tag title count to 23. I'm pretty sure, and someone in the chat, please tell me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Booker T has only won the tag titles 14 times, which means if you take away these regional tag titles anyway, the Dudleys have still won more tag titles than you, Booker T. And when you take into account that you've won that with like 5 different partners as well, it just seemed you saw Booker like they're like, no, I've won more. Those ones don't count. I've won more. But I might be wrong. So that's from just kind of, I was doing it during NXT because I thought we might be talking about it, trying to work this all out. But yeah, discounting the Dudleys ECW reigns, I think they're at 15.
You know what, though? I don't know about you, but like, I don't even care about what the conversation is. But Bubba Ray and Booker T going to argue about something? Yeah, all right. Grab the popcorn. Yeah. Let's see. 2 guys who love the spotlight and love to who are known for just being those type of dudes, and imagine them butting at it. I think the Dudleys have the most tag team reigns. Like think about it. They were TNA, IWGP. There's a few that some other teams have never grabbed that they have done. But Booker, according to WWE.com and Google, 11-time WCW World Tag Team Champion. Oh, so 11 times in WCW, which means he could have won a whole lot more in WWE. So maybe he's onto something. It's pretty funny though. So he's saying that ECW titles didn't count as world title reigns. Therefore,
I mean, I agree. It was Eastern Championship Wrestling,
yeah,
right? And then that became Extreme Championship Wrestling. Like, it's not a world promotion, technically, but yeah.
Interesting. Let us know if you agree, disagree. Booker T's side or Bubba's side? Does it count? If Small Fed, they weren't world because they never went across the world. I mean, they went to Canada. But if they were broadcast over the world, maybe. But we're getting too deep into this. Anyways, we see our next.
So this is saying
we're not done with this.
Yeah. Booker has won 14 world and 3 non-world tag team championships.
Okay.
So I guess he won 11 WCW, 2 reigns in WWE, one with Goldust, one with Rob Van Dam.
Okay, wait.
And then 1 reign in TNA with
What about Reality of Wrestling? Is that a world title?
No. He also won the GWF Tag Team Championship.
Global Force?
Which was 3 reigns. No. Like pre-WCW, 92 and 93. So they'd have been regional ones. So 14 for Booker T is what I'm seeing.
Wow. Booker T, he's going to take that to the grave of how angry he's
in world titles for the Dudleys, if you exclude. So they won ECW, but they're called the ECW World Tag Team Championship. I don't know.
Yeah.
8 reigns, 8 WWE World Tag Team Championship reigns, 1 reign as WWE Tag Champions, 1 reign as WCW World Tag Team Champions, TNA World Champions 2 times, NWA World Tag Champions once, IWGP Tag Champions twice.
Okay, so I don't know. ECW should count, right? Like it was a big deal. Like here I was playing 2K today. I'm playing as Terry Funk Sandman. You know, like ECW has a big legacy in the world of wrestling. So I do think it should.
But then
count.
would you say like Taz has been a world champion?
He's been an ECW world champion. Yeah.
You're not going to put him up there with The Rock. Though,
it's the same as Jericho being like, "Oh, I'm the Nueve. I'm at this time," because Jericho. At the end of the day, Jericho's going to call himself a 10-time world champion or whatever because he's going to count Ring of Honor. So I don't know. There's layers.
Wait until he's back in WWE and let's see how many world titles Jericho has had. Yeah,
but he's still the guy who beat The Rock and Stone Cold on the same night.
Yes.
So there you go. It's not settled, but Booker T and Bubba continue fighting, please. I'd like to see more. Or not. We get our video for Jada Parker, another contender in the match on Saturday, the 4-way. We see her talking as clips of her walking in the mean streets of Port St. Lucie. I think this is somewhere in Florida. She says, "My whole life, people have been making assumptions about me. I've never fit in anywhere. Anyways, to this day, people are saying things about me. And they're saying that because I look this part, that I have to be this part. Well, I came from the streets and they came from where? Everyone's intimidated me. Doesn't matter where I come from. Doesn't matter where these women come from. But she then says that I can deal with pressure. If I can hang with the boys, I can deal with the pressure. I am pressure. She mentions that her dad was a coach and that she played soccer, but then people thought that she was only on the team because her dad was the coach. And she said, even that rubbed me the wrong way. And then she says her best friend was her uncle, and her uncle passed away. And ever since then, I know, don't trust anyone. And life made me hard. And Saturday, you're going to see that Jada Parker don't play. I think this was pretty solid, considering I think we know from the last few months, year even, that her promo game is very good. Like, she's very believable and really getting in the groove of this character. And I think some of the lines in this promo specifically said to some of the doubters that I do see certain comments online, people saying that she's more like an actor or acting like, oh, you're not from the streets and this and that, which I'm sure she's going to get backlash for this promo as well. But I thought that the twist of also making it pretty personal, emotional, while still having a bit of the edge was pretty good.
I don't care if she is from the streets or if she's not. It's whether I believe she is from what I'm seeing. You know, like
character.
Believe it or not, the Undertaker wasn't a ghost.
What?
And Kane didn't burn in a fire. So it's whether you make me believe. I actually thought this was the most effective of the 4 promos because I thought it blended that, like, getting to know who this person is personally, but with a bit of pro wrestling bravado as well. There was a certain line, I ain't the pressure that bursts pipes. I'm the pressure that forges diamonds. I thought was a great line. And I thought very much you got to see the human side of Jada Parker. She gave you a reason to root for her. And she also had some flashy lines that we like hearing in wrestling as well. So I thought this was very strong.
Again, I think once people see Jada Parker on the main roster, I think she's a character that could really work well. You know, it's not just about moves and all that stuff. It is about characters. And I think she's really like coming into her own lately, as of late. It'd be a wild card for her to win. I don't necessarily see that happening, but I'm happy that I'm happy in a weird way. I know we were kind of bummed about how it's not one-on-one matches and stuff, but I do think this 4-way specifically could be pretty awesome, especially with who is involved. So Jada's got a lot to step up against, like Stephanie, Julia, and Jordan, considered the 3 amigos there, the 3 like top of the women's wrestling food chain essentially. And Jada's going to step in there.
It is still a developmental product. Yeah. You kind of should have someone like newer involved to try and get them up to that level.
Of course.
You want to get Jada up to the level of a Julia or a Stephanie.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I like this video from Jada. We see, oh boy, my favorite part of the show. Not actually though. You know how we always cherry pick on the show? Like if you had to watch one thing from NXT tonight, would it be this, Davey? Just to see it to believe it?
I mean, I'd say, you know how much we've all missed the pandemic. We've all missed empty arena cinematic wrestling with bad editing, bad camera cuts, bad acting. Well, oh boy, here you go.
It's funny you say that because as I'm watching this, I'm like, hey, wait, this is where I watched Randy Orton and Edge fight for like 3 hours in this back area.
And wasn't it Adam Cole Velveteen Dream?
Oh, really?
Didn't they have a parking lot brought? It was horrible.
Completely forgot about that guy, man. Thanks.
Good for you, lucky.
Yeah, I had a good streak going there. Forgot that was a thing. Anyways,
Simon Gotch exists as well, Braden.
No, don't say it out loud. You're gonna ruin the algorithm. I watched one Maven video of Justin Incredible scamming people, and now my YouTube algorithm's all out of whack.
Did you just call him Justin Incredible?
I mean, he's scamming people, so he's not really credible. Anyways, so this was ridiculous here. This is the family versus Dark State in a backlot brawl. I don't know what this was supposed to be, but I didn't like this, but it was pretty funny, and it's hokey wrestling stuff. We get the family show up, and I mean the family involving Stax, Rizzo, Luca, and a bunch of old Italian men wearing fedoras. They didn't look very impressive. They looked like they couldn't do too much damage, but
one guy looked pretty heavy.
They had crowbars, I guess.
One looked like he'd work security for sure.
So a bunch of old Italian white men and the family, but no Tony. And Rizzo and Luca are like, hey, where's Tony? It's like, you didn't realize he wasn't in the car with you when you got here? Okay. This is where Stacks says, I'm the underboss and I made the call that Tony shouldn't be here. And they kind of don't like that. And this is when Dark State show up and it becomes a whole out fight. Think epic movie action scene where a bunch of these Italian men, Putty Patrol, are getting beat up by Dark State. There's crowbars to the head, bad edits. I don't know what the hell I was watching with this. They start brawling through the performance center, and then there's this Cutler guy from Dark State gets a choke slam. This choke slams one of the guys through the table. There's then a spear through the drywall. So now we're turning this into walls getting broken down. This is where I got the flashbacks of Edge and Randy Orton. They're still fighting there. We see Shaquan Sugars with the fire extinguisher, and then now they're in the parking lot. They fart around. That's pretty much what they were doing. They fight around the cars. They slam the guys into the cars. There's cinder blocks. There's then a choke slam on Luca onto the car, and this is when a car pulls up as Rizzo is told to go call backup. Tony D'Angelo gets out of the car. He's got a crowbar. He starts attacking. This is your Stone Cold moment here where the glass shatters, except it's the Italian man showing up.
Okay, except you have the guy in the sound at the sound desk with the sound effect dunk, dunk, dunk every time he hits someone with the crowbar. Dunk, dunk.
Ridiculous. So
it reminded me of Kota Ibushi on the bike, with Taz making the noise. Dunk. It was hilarious.
Dark State run off because they're scared of Tony with the crowbar, and we see the flashing lights. The cops are showing up. Oh no, it's the cops. And Stacks is like, Tony, we got to get out of here. It's the cops. It's the fuzz. And Tony says, don't worry. Those guys are my people. Don't worry. So yes, Tony D'Angelo
or something like that.
He says they're my people.
Now.
Yeah, they're our people. So yes, Tony D'Angelo, he's got his fingers in the honeypot of the cops. They're working for Tony. And they say so Tony is furious here. He's yelling and berating Stacks, like, what the hell were you thinking? What were you doing? Why did you do this? Why didn't you invite me? And he's like, I wanted to get the upper hand. I want to beat them up, show them how we do things. And Tony says, no, we don't do things like this in the parking lot. We do it on the biggest stage possible. And they say that's Saturday, Stand and Deliver, the family versus Dark State. That's right. Another match being added to this show. A lot to unpack here. I think I hate segments like this just because this is the embarrassing part of wrestling, like the weird bad edits and sounds, as you mentioned. Like, why did we need this? Just film it live. And I think it would have been more like natural, but
it's what I find so weird. It's like WWE is one of the top company, like top in anything in entertainment production wise. Like, it's the stuff we're about to go into WrestleMania, and we're going to see incredible stuff with that stage and entrances and things. Yeah, something which I feel should be relatively simple like this. The amount of bad cuts, like I'm pretty sure I saw Dark State walk out the door twice, or like where the distance they were away from the family kind of cut back and forth, like really jarring cuts, like really amateurly done. And which is a shame, because like some of these, like Luca taking that, what was it, like an uranagi on the car, like choke slam on the car, that's pretty painful. Like it looked that looked good. And we've seen spots like that where it does look good. And unfortunately, I thought the production of this took away from what they were doing, and adding those sound effects was just ridiculous. And which was a shame. However, going back to the story, I think it's good we've got a match on Stand and Deliver. Like, I do want to see, I want these guys to prove themselves in ring. And I'm happy for, Stacks and Tony getting on the show and having a match. But it's now led me to think, is Tony the guy behind Dark State? And I'm trying to remember when he was attacked. Did we see the attack, or was it just we saw him laid out backstage? And I'm trying to, because Stacks was fighting these guys, and I think that we were thinking, especially with him on the Tron last week, Stacks is behind this. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's Tony.
Well, like Stacks was actually fighting them here, so it wouldn't make sense now.
Yes,
Stack,
exactly.
right? Unless it's aces and eights type shit. But like,
yeah,
maybe you're right. Even though Tony came in swinging that crowbar too, but I don't know. I think it's leading to some sort of dissension and breakup with the family, regardless.
Yeah, maybe there's no leader for this dark state. Like this is the group, but this should lead to
like
Tony seemed the heel here of him and Stacks, right?
Well, we don't know. Like Stacks told Tony not to come, which is like, you're doing a West Side Story fight in the parking lot, and you told your boy not to show up. Like you might have won if he was there. So maybe we see Dark State win, and then the moment with Stacks and Tony and the family, and someone turns on someone that has nothing to do with Dark State. But
yeah, I could see that.
I thought this was so hokey, so goofy. Like what I don't like in wrestling, like this should end up on Botchamania or something. Like it wasn't even that bad. There's so much worse. But like it was more the
editing rather than the action. I thought it was the way it was shot was just, it took me back to the pandemic, which I do not want to be taken back to.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's for playing 2K against you,
Exactly. Got to get 25. We get the video for Stephanie Vaquer. I love this one here. We see Stephanie La Primera. She's going back to Chile here, the home star, she's the hometown hero, making her return. We see she's being interviewed on TV, on the radio. She's a big deal. She's got her title belts here, and she's showing people. I think she's got one for her dad. She gets the replicas made, and she gives them both of them.
There was a line where she said, when I told my dad I was going to be a wrestler, he wasn't like, he was nervous and worried about it. But I told him, Dad, one day I'm going to be a double WWE champion. She just knew one day she was going to not hold one women's title, but 2 women's titles in WWE.
Aim high, kids.
Exactly. It reminded me of that line way back when in AEW, where that lady was like, ever since Chris Jericho was a young boy, I knew he was going to be AEW world champion.
That's hilarious. That's funny.
It's only very recently we've had more than one women's title in WWE, full stop. Yeah. But
she's always wanted to be double champion.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe her, actually. She says that she's there. We see her with the mayor of the city here. We see that she says that she represents family. She does this all for her family, for Chile. She does it for the pride of Chile, and she will always support and make Chile proud and keep the name of Chile name high up in value. She says she loves this country and where she's from, and that Saturday will be no different when she retains the NXT Women's Championship. Yeah, I loved this video as well. Kind of showing her. I think it's perfect that they did do this like media thing recently where, she's just become this huge star for Chile and wrestling, and rightfully so. She's caught fire ever since coming to WWE.
Yeah, I love this. There's something really unique with Stephanie Vaquer. I just think she's so naturally likable and has this presence about her, and kind of a bit of a quiet aura almost. She's not, I wouldn't say she's flashy in presentation, but there's just something that draws you to her. And even when you're seeing her here just in her like street clothes with a family, she seems like incredibly likable, and you want to root for her. And I think that has translated in her time in NXT so far. And I really hope it translates when she moves up to the main roster as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I could see her being a huge star once being on the main roster. We see Hank and Tank backstage. They're hyped about winning the Gauntlet match. They said that we've got tons of advice from different tag teams, some legends, some current, and some not so good, but we stayed true to ourselves and we pulled one out and we did it. This is when Fraxium show up and Frazier says, yeah, you did it, but now you got to put yourselves to the test. We knew you could do it, says Frazier. And Axiom's like, hey, man, actually, you were being pretty negative towards them. And he goes, yeah, but maybe it's because I was doing the right thing. And look, now they've won. So maybe my advice actually helped them. And says that it's a shame you guys had to go through this because it was all a waste, because there's no chance you're beating us on Saturday. And Hank and Tank kind of like give him a bit of a look, but still offer their handshake. And Frazier just walks off. But Axiom shakes their hands there. But yes, Fraxium is fine.
Yeah, I think I would like them to keep this tension forever. I think it just works for them. Like I don't sense a breakup anytime soon. I do kind of, we talked about it already. I do see Hank and Tank potentially winning the title, and I'm not overly keen on that, but story wise, that does seem like where we're going.
I would like Fraxium to retain.
Yes,
more entertaining. We see Roxanne Perez backstage, all the other women hanging around with Ava, and Roxanne says she's upset. Oh, like, you have a tag team match now that you've added, and like, why I should be in it? I deserve it. And Ava's like, oh yeah, did you find a partner? And Rox is like, no, like, I would do anything to be in Stand and Deliver. And that's when Cora Jade shows up and says, oh yeah, you'll do anything, even apologize to me, as it cuts. So I think it's safe to say Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade will be added to this match on Saturday. It is official now, actually. So
it is official. Yeah. I think we kind of predicted it last week. They were teasing it's going to be some sort of multi-tag person match. It's disappointing, especially if this is going to be Roxanne's last Stand and Deliver. Maybe not. Maybe she's sticking around, though. She's in this weird kind of limbo at the moment. She was on SmackDown last week. She's still in NXT. I feel that this match, though, could kind of tip off who's going to win the tag title match at WrestleMania, though, because if it's your Cora and Roxanne's, I think Bayley and Lyra makes a whole lot of sense as the opponents, which kind of makes me think maybe they're going to win this, which I wasn't thinking when I was watching Raw yesterday, because I think Lyra's already got a title, and I think Liv especially is a pretty strong character to take the tag titles off at this point. But yeah, I could see Cora and Roxanne winning this, and therefore Bayley and Lyra.
It's a weird one. It's like, put her on the main roster or don't. It's kind of weird. Like, since Chamber, right? It's like, here she is being featured in a PLE and then still flip-flopping around. Now, I know
like we want to educate our audience who she is before we actually bring her in properly. Right.
Because I think if you were to do the exact same thing in NXT, you bring her in as a babyface maybe first, and then you see how good she is, and then you, like, you know, or not. I don't know. But either way, like, I think people would take to her if done properly. And the way they've brought her in so far is not the way you get people to care about her. Why? She just keeps losing.
I mean, she's had the record of the longest person in the Rumble ever.
She did? Okay, well, that's pretty great. Like, I just think it was weird, the Tiff stuff. Like, it felt like Tiff just, like,
I agree with you there. Yeah.
I can't wait to see what she does on the main roster, but it would be a shame if, like, her last, like, maybe this next week is the last time we do see her in NXT, and maybe they get called up together with Cora or something. I'm not quite sure, but I don't feel silly, because I just really wanted to see Meiko Satomura versus Roxanne one more time, and I feel robbed that we're not getting that. To be honest, Ava, you had one job and you failed. So Roxanne's pretty pissed that she's in a tag match. I like her honesty, at least. In this.
Yeah, I'm kind of pissed she's in a tag.
It's like she could kind of be in that 4-way, would be pretty good. But yeah, we go to our next match. Out comes Carmen Petrovic and Ashanti. What a great outfit here. Did you like this shirt with a question mark? I'm not sure what this was. It was a baggy shirt on. Very nice. But Carmen's waiting, and we're not quite sure who's going to challenge her next. But when we come back from commercial break, get ready. Here we go. Uriah Connors and Cale Dixon are with Andre Chase. And lately they've been trying to find Chase's groove back. You know, they've been trying to get him back to where he should be. When they say, yes, Mr. Chase, Chase U is back. We're back. When we hear someone, the camera pans. Thea Hail back in NXT in her ring gear, in new ring gear. And she says, you have my blessing, Mr. Chase. And they say, oh, Thea, does this mean you're back in Chase U? She says, no, but I'll always be proud alumni of Chase U, and says that she's got a match next and will qualify to go to Stand and Deliver. So hell yeah, Thea Hail is back. But what's even better is, yes, the image you have up that Duke Hudson has posted. It's the picture of Chase fist bumping Thea, and the Star Wars ghost spirit of Duke Hudson.
we need to include Bodhi in that, and Riley and
Uriah, Kale.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm super happy Thea's back. We were talking about her last week, I think. Where's she gone? What's happened?
Yeah. July since the last time we've seen her.
That's crazy. That's so long ago. Yeah, really happy that Thea's back. Part of me, as nice as this moment was, and Thea giving her old professor her blessing to go, like, yes, you can mentor these kids. Go for it. I'm a grown-ass woman now, as her entrance music now says.
I'm a grown-ass woman.
I'm a grown-ass woman. But I feel you could have held this off to Stand and Deliver and just had Ava be like, I have not do this qualifying match and just go, we have one more person and then do the surprise entrance. Because I thought it would have got a way bigger reaction. You know, I'm a grown-ass woman and everyone's like, what's that? And then she just runs out like she does. And I think the place would have gone kind of crazy for it. So this was a nice moment, but I kind of felt a missed opportunity.
The missed opportunity is not fucking having Duke here. Like, what the hell? I told you I was playing 2K25 today. Duke and Chase, both in the game. MVP trophy in the game. And then they fired him. Can you believe these people? Can you believe these people, man?
Yeah,
wow.
It's sad.
Anyways, Thea Hail is back, and she is a grown-ass woman. And shout out to some members of the Poisonrana community who have pointed out that Thea Hail's theme song after the grown-ass women part is actually Eddie Edwards' old TNA theme.
Oh, God.
You didn't recognize this? Oh, I recognized it. No, of course I didn't recognize it. Eddie Edwards? Come on. One step
I try
closer.
to block out Eddie Edwards.
That's one too many people close to things I don't want to talk about. So Eddie Edwards' theme hits here with Thea Hail. Thea is on fire, beating up on Carmen. Every time Carmen tries to get something, she can't shing quite yet. Thea hits a low lariat, does the rope Ultimate Warrior, shakes, and then almost like a coffin drop here. And then the Fujiwara armbar. Hail, yeah. Carmen taps out, and Thea Hail is going to stand and hopefully deliver on Saturday in Vegas. But very happy to see her back. We were very, very high on her, especially through the Chase U era, and her stuff with Tiff and Chase and all that stuff was really good. And I'm super happy to see her back.
Yeah, I'd have her win it, to be honest.
Me too. Absolutely.
I think she's the character that
yeah.
I think as well for a feel-good moment. It's been a while since she's been on TV, so who knows what this crowd are going to be like. But certainly I'm thinking back to last Stand and Deliver. Chase U were one of the most over acts, including Thea Hail, in that crowd. Like, people knew who they were.
Every PLE this year that Chase U was a part of, like, either stole the show or was the highlight, like, biggest reactions. So
yeah.
And they fired Duke. Just I haven't clarified that yet. But
yeah.
Like, come on. The question was, will this work on the main roster? And you look at it and you would have gone, no, this is a stupid gimmick. And then all of them worked their asses off. And I mean all of them, the three of them, Thea, Duke, and Chase specifically. And it just feels like, that's okay.
And we've seen dumber shit on the main roster. It's like, I'm surprised, like, why not just try?
Why not
just give it a go? Give it a go. Then fire him.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
He's in the game, so he'll live forever. But yes, Thea Hail will be added to the ladder match on Saturday. I think she should win it too. But we go to our main segment of the show, the final confrontation between the NXT champion Oba Femi and his challengers, Trick Williams, Javon Evans. But Trick Williams makes his way out to the ring first. He has a microphone. The Booker T's going wild. The crowd's going wild. He says, you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. And last week, Javon called me Carmelo Hayes. Well, heavy is the head that wears the crown, Oba, and I want my crown back. So, Javon.
That was a Carmelo Hayes line as well. I mean, I know it's said a lot, but that was something Carmelo would say as well.
He says, Javon, better luck next year. This is when Oba comes out, and he says, Trick, you're beginning to sound like a broken record. He says, not as many people are singing along to your whoop that trick anymore. You're the only person who's whooping that trick. And after
Which is interesting he says that, because when Trick came out, he was doing the Booker T ad-libs and Booker wasn't.
Booker T did eventually do it, but it started
okay.
with Trick doing it. Yeah. And Oba says, after Stand and Deliver, I can finally move on from you, and I can't wait. And Trick says, yeah, well, it takes more than a few Black Panther lines to get over here. I guess referring to, we always, Oba definitely uses a lot of Thanos lines, but I'm sure there's some Black Panther
movie
stuff
lines in general, I think. Yeah.
This is when Javon Evans comes out. He says, man, both of you, shut your ass up. I really wish he said, shut your bitch ass up, but I'll take what I could get. He then says, Trick, Oba's right about you. Like, yeah, he's super right about you. Look at you. You're not the same person. And you're dismissed, says Javon, trying to get since Trick is like dismissing him here. He says, Oba, don't forget that I'm the one who's dropped you once or twice recently. And everyone knows that you're going to not if, but when you will go to the main roster and be a big star. And I know you're from Alabama. Shout out Roll Tide, but dead ass, bruh, as he says. This kid from North Carolina wasn't supposed to make it either. And I did. And I'm going to this Saturday. And Oba says,
was there something with this Alabama line where, because Oba was like, how dare you? Because he's been having this Nigerian accent since he's come in.
I mean,
and was it
the
kind
accent's
of like,
fake, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, like it's not the performer's voice, but it's the character's voice. And I don't know, he brings up this Alabama thing, and there was almost a bit of a ooh from the crowd, right. And Oba like, you said what about me? And
Don't
it's like,
talk about
at
Alabama.
first I was like, oh, you're just telling where he's from. And now I'm thinking, oh, because he's kind of exposing him as he's this Nigerian ruler, whereas actually he's just some guy from Alabama.
Javon also says to both of them that I'm already better in the ring than both of you, and everyone knows it, which I think is pretty funny. Oba then says, you know what, Javon, the truth is you're just not ready. You are a child. And that's when Javon says, yeah, well, you can't touch me in this ring. And that's when eventually Trick, things get heated. So both Trick and Oba throw Javon out and they start to punch. Javon goes back in. They throw him out again. They start to punch. And eventually Javon hits a double jump cutter on both men. And Javon Evans is the one standing tall with the NXT title as NXT goes off the air. The last shot before Stand and Deliver is Javon with the title. Will this be the same thing we see at the end of Stand and Deliver?
I mean, typically not, isn't it? Yes. This is a bit of a curse, Javon, and clearly you're showing your age here, because if you were a little older and been watching as long as Braden and I have, do not do this. Do not stand tall with the title on the go home show, because it ain't gonna come your way. That being said, I do see Javon winning this. I don't think Trick. I don't think Trick should win. It's really either Oba retains or it's Javon, and I think it's a bit more interesting if Javon wins this.
I'm fully in the camp of Javon as well, because he kind of said it in his promo, like, Oba, like, when are you going? Why are you still here? Essentially is what he's saying. Like, you don't need to be here. You're too bad.
Look at you. You're huge and you're powerful. And like, just go to Raw, man.
Off,
leave this to me.
Leave it alone, bro. So I think it will lead to Oba going up to the main roster, because if people who finally get to see Penta in WWE start fascinating over the Penta walk, like how we used to fascinate over the Penta walk, well, let's introduce the WWE universe to the Oba Femi walk. We've all done this walk different times in our life, but what a great walk. Oba Femi for main roster. I think Javon should win the NXT title. 20-year-old winning the title. Hell yeah. And then you could spin, if Trick is still sticking around, spin Javon Trick. But I think Trick also needs to go up to the main roster sooner than later as well. But I think this match will be a lot of fun on Saturday. So I know maybe at the time we were like, oh, why aren't we doing the singles? But really, Javon has been my favorite. Yeah. Since Javon has shown up on NXT, we were like, this is our new favorite guy. And I'd say promo game, he said some he got some oohs and ahs, but I think maybe there's still some room for improvement on like promo, but 20-year-old here. That's crazy to me. So dude, we're in your corner, 20-year-old or not. We got Javon Evans hopefully walks out as NXT champion in Vegas. Let's see if it can happen.
I thought this was a much more productive go home show than Raw was yesterday. I really liked the profiles of the four women in the title match. I thought the tag gauntlet was pretty fun. Still, we've spoken our questions of having Hank and Tank in this role, but really, who else in this tag division is there at this point to go with, unless you're bringing outsiders in? And yeah, I'm up for the main event. I was happy to see Thea Hail back. Didn't like the Dark State D'Angelo family stuff. The other matches were fine. I didn't mind this show, and I think Stand and Deliver. It's again a lot of multi-person matches. I think it is gonna over-deliver on the day. Not the strongest card, not the weakest card, but I thought they did a good job on today's show to hype it up.
Yeah, I did too. Like, again, they've added a lot of these multi-matches. They are trying to get a lot of people on the show. I totally get that. It's great to see these people get the payday, get the experience, get the opportunity to do that. And I think this card looks a lot better than what we got last year. We were there last year, and it was tough at 12 to like really rally. And I think it could be tough for people who are there as well this year if you're out partying and all that and trying to go to different shows and this and that. But overall, I do see this. Like, don't sleep on this card, because after WrestleMania weekend, I'm sure people will be talking about certain matches from this show that will stand out. So, and deliver. See what I did there. But you know what? I thought there was some good stuff on this. Like, the Gauntlet match was pretty fun. The promo at the end was all right with the three of them. And I love the videos for all the women as well. And we got Thea Hail. So it was a pretty...
Yeah. Oh, Hail, yeah.
Up. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to Saturday. I think they did a good job of getting me in the stand and deliver spirit. If you will. So there you go. That was NXT from Tuesday, April 15th. But let's go through this card. I don't see any feedback there. I guess Megan and Frank were asleep. We're busy watching Daredevil. So
right. Yeah, that's what's happening, isn't it? Daredevil finale.
So let's go through this briefly. In the dark match at 9 a.m. or something like that. No, 12:30 Eastern time. The fatal four-way elimination tag for the number one contendership for the women's tag titles. Metaphor, Fatal Influence, Tatum and Gigi, and Rox and Cora. Who are we going with here?
I'm actually going to go in order of elimination. I think Gigi and Tatum get eliminated first, then Fatal Influence, and then Cora and Roxanne defeat the Metaphor. Okay.
Book it. I do think Rox and Cora should win as well, especially with the Bailey stuff that's been going on. And we do think maybe potentially it could be Bailey. But how many times do they tease these tag titles coming back to NXT? Just give it to us if you're going to do this. Keep doing this. Please, just give us the titles. You don't care about them. We know you don't. Don't lie to us, but please. The ladder match for vacant NXT Women's North American Championship. Zarya, Kalani, Soul, Izzy, Lola, and Thea. Thea!
Yeah, I think you could have a moment towards the end where both Soul and Zarya are going for the titles, and one of them turns on the other, or they both take each other out, and leading to that split. But I think Thea would be the feel-good winner here.
Before this, I was thinking Zarya, to have her crush everybody, eventually turn on Soul and take it. But now with the addition to Thea, I'm kind of changing my tune, and I would like to see her win this and give her some momentum on her return. But I'm thinking this could be a fun match as well, and a Soul Snatcher off a ladder.
Yes,
that's going to be bonkers for sure. We have the tag team titles on the line. Champs Fraxium taking on Hank and Tank. Will the security guard dream come true for Hank and Tank?
I think. Did you see the sign in the crowd? Honk and Tonk. So I'm going with Honk and Tonk for this one.
Yeah, Honk and Tonk. All the way. I kind of want Fraxium to win to be heels, to be dicks about it. What you guys just think you were good now. But because I want that Hardy Boys rematch. The Hardys won. Why didn't we ever go back to that? We just didn't acknowledge that they beat the undefeated tag champions.
It's like, hey, TNA, we're going to beat you all the time. But the Hardys are going to beat you. Yeah, that's the trade.
Exactly. We have Ricky Saints defending his North American title against Ethan Page. I think I see Ricky retaining here. What about you?
Yeah, I don't see. It's so early in this reign. You've only just flip-flopped it from Tony to Sean, Spears to Ricky. Paige doesn't need a title run at this point.
We could continue this feud, like get more like personal and violent or whatever. Yep. And also, I also see Paige going up eventually. Like, main roster. His promo game would definitely work. The recently added 6-man tag match, the D'Angelo family taking on Dark State. I think Dark State have to win.
I think Dark State have to, and then that can lead to the fracturing of the family.
We're going to get the High Spirits Shield Bomb. That's what we're getting.
Yes.
Stephanie Vaquer defending her NXT Women's Championship, Women's World Championship in a 4-way. Julia, Jordan Grace, and Jada Parker.
I think with it being a 4-way, I think Stephanie retains. She hasn't been champion long. I feel it's less than if one of the other women wins it at this point. It should be in a big singles match, and this title run has only really just started. So Stephanie for me.
I would like Stephanie to retain as well. We're only getting started with this run. Eventually, you get the Jordan Grace singles match at the next big PLE or any of these iterations as a one, like the Julia rematch as well. But like Jordan Grace will eventually get her time as champion, and she didn't even need to come to NXT really. But like, I do think Stephanie should retain as well. I think we're not quite done with that yet. And then the main event, Obafemi, NXT champion on the line, defending, his championship. Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and we both were just talking about how we think the bouncy boy
should bounce his way. Yes.
He's going to bounce his way to stand and deliver. 20-year-old champion. I usually don't like kids, but I'm for this kid. I like this guy a lot. So I actually played as him in 2K25 today. He is awesome. He's really bouncy. Low rating though, but because he's 20. So next year, if he wins this title, boost those up, baby. So we're going with Javon walking out as NXT champion, and then Oba on Raw. Raw after Mania, Obafemi possibly.
I feel every NXT show we plan call-ups for everyone, but you could see, I think Oba, Trick, and Ethan Page, you could definitely see making their way up soon. Roxanne, whether you want to move up Roxanne with Cora, I don't know, because Cora's been in NXT a while now, but there's a lot of people ready to move up, I think. But who would be my first pick? I'm not sure.
Obafemi. Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, I guess so. I'd say maybe Trick over Oba at this point, although Oba is ready. I just think there's a few people right now that I think they'd give Oba a very similar push to they did Bronson Reed and they are doing currently with Jacob Fatu and Bron Breakker, and whether it would be too much too soon of the same, unless they can find a different way of doing it. But I don't know.
So maybe Oba retains, and we have a bit of a run still, the ruler for NXT, and then eventually we get to the big moment for Javon. But I would like to see a change up with that. Like Oba has, like, who else can he have matches with that would?
That is the thing, right? Like, what does he do? Tag team. It worked for Breakker for a little bit, right? A little fun tag team.
Well, we will see what happens this Saturday. Again, join us this Sunday right here on the Post Wrestling YouTube. We will be going live at 12 noon Sunday on 420. Blaze it. Smoke them if you got them. We will be chatting about Stand and Deliver. We'll be chatting about Mania Night 1. And the audio will be out here on the Post Wrestling feed right afterwards. So if you have Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook, follow Poisonrana Pod. And follow along our WrestleMania journey this week of us doing the watch parties and the pods and watching all the other wrestling. And follow Poisonrana in your podcast app. Again, our free WrestleMania 41 preview show is up. Also, just launched a free Detox. There was a What Up Doe that dropped. Eagles Don't Hunt Flies, Shot in the Dark. So many free podcasts talking about all different types of wrestling. And it doesn't stop there, because patreon.com/Poisonrana. $5, become a friend. What are you waiting for? Get our best match ever, Triple H, WrestleMania 9. The list goes on and on and on. So many podcasts, and we can't do it without our postmarks. So thank you very much, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Happy Mania. Give us the green light. Give yourself a green light. Give yourself a round of applause. Appreciate everybody out there, and have fun this week. enjoy yourselves.
I can't wait. It's going to be a fun week. Absolutely.
Gonna be great. Yeah. Anyways, you can follow me. I'm at the Brady.
And I am at Davie Portman.
That is it. That is all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And happy WrestleMania, y'all.
Ahoy!